Hello and welcome to another edition of ONTV News. I'm Kayla Brandon. Every year, the Lake Orion Fireworks Association comes up with creative ways to help fund the 4th of July fireworks show. This year, the association decided to offer a spectacular view of the show by selling tickets on the double-decker boat, the Grand Princess. However, since the boat was going to be on the lake for several days prior to the 4th of July, the association wanted to do something special. On Wednesday, July 2nd, the Lake Orion Fireworks Association invited area veterans to enjoy a 3-hour cruise on the lake. The Grand Princess was docked at Pelton's Point, where veterans were able to hop on board.
So we, the Lake Orion Fireworks Association, said we're going to donate the boat for one day, and then I went out and talked to Sagebrush Cantina, and I talked to Buffalo Wild Wings, and they donated all the food that you see. So we got tons of food. We got everybody's happy, beautiful night for a ride, and that's in honor of our vets. The other thing we want to do, and we got the word out around the lake, is that right at 10 o'clock, we'd like to see these sky lanterns go off. And right at 10, that's strictly to honor our veterans.
There were 2 cruises offered to veterans, one at 3 p.m. and the second at 8 p.m. Sarowski told us that he was very pleased with the turnout and hopes the cruise will become an annual tradition.
Oh, tremendous, yeah. I mean, everybody seems happy. We're happy. You know, everybody benefits. And these guys and women, you know, who served in our country, and, you know, some of them are World War II vets that we've had here. We had a guy earlier today that served, that was in the war in the Pacific at Iwo Jima. He's 92 years old, and he got on, and he was happy as can be.
That's awesome.
So that's what we want to do, is honor these guys and women who fought for our country, or at least served in the armed forces for us.
We have so many veterans that call Orion home, and we have a VFW post here, and so I agree. I think that we might have a new tradition of Veterans Night, Flare Night, Fireworks Night. It was awesome to see.
On Friday, July 4th, Ace Pyro launched Lake Orion's annual fireworks from a barge on the lake within the border of Orion Township, just east of Bellevue Island. The farmers market in downtown Lake Orion is attracting vendors from all over Michigan. Here's a look at one of their sweet farmers from Davison, Michigan. There's a lot of buzz around France honey lately, and I'm not talking about the bees.
My honey, I would say, is probably more what's called late season honey. It's got a darker color. It has a heavier flavor, more of a flavor as opposed to the real light colored clover honeys, which I enjoy myself.
But Franz isn't new to the honey making business. He told me he's been around it his entire life.
As a kid growing up in Midland, Michigan, my father raised a couple hives just for our own personal family use. And then about 20 years ago, he no longer does it, but I kind of picked it up and got into it more and more. And it's become more of a second income for me. I make my living as a self-employed trim carpenter.
The small, family-run business refuses to use chemicals or medications when producing their honey, making their products 100% all natural.
My honey has just been strained once, and that's it. That's why it's called raw. Hasn't been cooked, hasn't been pasteurized, hasn't been filtered to death. It's right off the hive.
If you visit Ken for yourself, you'll find traditional raw honey, buckwheat honey, which he suggests using in teas or on toast, beeswax lip balm, and his very own honey sticks, which seem to be a crowd pleaser for kids. While Franz loves his job, he told me it's definitely not for those unwilling to get their hands dirty.
Anybody who wants to raise bees and produce honey deserves all the credit in the world. It's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of work goes into it. You got to learn a lot. And it's farming. You have good years and bad years.
By the looks of his crowded tent at Lake Orion's farmers market, I'd say Franz Honey is looking at a pretty good year ahead. Franz Honey will be at the Lake Orion Farmers Market in downtown Lake Orion every Wednesday this summer from 2 to 7 p.m. They're located in Davison, Michigan, and you can visit their website, www.franzhoney.web.com, for more information. The Eamons Center, located in the village of Lake Orion, has a long and storied past, having changed hands many times over the past several decades. Recently, it was announced that the building may be starting a brand new chapter. ONTV's Joe Johnson has the story.
Built in 1927, this building located at 55 Elizabeth Street served as Lake Orion's second school, housing grades K through 12 for 30 years. The two-story, 35,000 square foot building has 25 classrooms and a gymnasium. Over the years, the building housed the school district's adult education and latchkey programs. Lake Orion resident Wendy Patton purchased the building in 2001, allowing the Boys and Girls Club to occupy the building until 2006, and Love Inc. utilized space in the building until 2008. Over the past few years, the historic building has sat unused, and Oakland County took over ownership following a tax foreclosure in 2013. Now a group of investors calling themselves Legacy LO purchased the building with major plans to develop classrooms into residential units while maintaining the charm of the exterior. There's even a proposal to convert the gymnasium into a restaurant.
What's really unique about this building, and I'm going to give the village and the DDA so much credit, because do they like to look at a school that's, old and dilapidated? No. But the ideas that were before this were worn out ideas. People, they just didn't feel like that's going to revive this downtown. And so that's when we all thought about the city style lofts and bringing, a demographic to the village. They loved it, and they really were incredible. In helping us get the school. We are really pumped about going through the whole process of working with the folks for the approvals. We're in the process of looking at 3 or 4 historical architects that can help us really, position the asset accordingly. There's a lot of work to do. We've got to raise a lot of money.
Legacy LO is made up of Lake Orion residents whose goal is to improve Lake Orion. Representatives met at the site and gave us a tour of the building. They were joined by DDA Executive Director Suzanne Perot, who told us she's excited by the news.
It's really exciting. I think the vision that this group has on what it can become is a great redevelopment and reuse project, and it's wonderful being within the DDA district and just a little bit north of downtown. I think it can really activate a lot of other excitement in our communities.
What was going through your head as you walked through the building for the first time?
Well, I had gone through the building about 4.5 years ago, right when I first started working here, and it was kind of devastating to see the disrepair that it's in, and I can say now I can really see the vision, and it has so much potential, and I think this is a great group of people to be working with to get it going again.
This group right here is the most passionate group about Lake Orion you'll ever meet in your life. We're all so blessed. We're really, just honored. They created us. This city created who we are. And so we're just so excited, man. It's in the right hands, I can tell you that.
When asked about the issue of asbestos and lead paint removal, Garris told us it's a common problem in buildings constructed prior to 1970.
All of these buildings have some type of asbestos, no doubt. And that's where your brownfields come into play, as far as there's monies there to reconcile those issues, whether it be lead-based paint, asbestos. All of that is it's at your fingertips. You have to go through a lot of hoops to get there, but I think what everyone in all parties, whether it be the state, whether it be the county, the village, us, we have a lot of experience together and jointly in construction and development. It's nothing new. So asbestos is something that when you're in a building before 1970, right, it has it. And there's a process.
So it's not a deal breaker by any means then?
Absolutely not.
Legacy LO has created a Facebook page where you can share your memories of the building and comment on proposed ideas. In Lake Orion, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ONTV News.
Thanks, Joe. Among the many perks of joining the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce is a ribbon-cutting ceremony to welcome a new business to the community. Although, as we learned recently, you don't necessarily have to be a new business to have a party. On Thursday, June 26th, representatives of the Chamber of Commerce arrived at Citizens Community Federal Bank on M24 to hold a ribbon-cutting ceremony, despite the fact that the bank has a long history in the Orion community. The bank was celebrating its recent membership into the Chamber of Commerce.
Being involved into the chamber and all of the local community events is very important to us. So what better way to get our name out there than joining the chamber and becoming, a valuable part of the chamber.
The bank started out as a credit union a few doors down from its current location in this shopping plaza on M24. 6 years ago, it was federally chartered as a bank and became Citizens Community Federal. The goal of the bank is to not only provide services to area residents, but to assist local businesses as well.
Well, the people that work here, they live here. You know, we live in the community, we're involved in the schools. You know, we started years ago into the school district. We have many tight roots into the school district and all the local communities here. We love it here. This is what we do. You know, what better way to give back to the community than a community bank? And you can go up and down the street and there's not too many community banks left. You know, so we pride ourselves in that. The products and services we offer here, you know, we can tailor a lot of those products compared to some of the larger banks, you know, so that sets us apart as well.
The Heidelberg Project is an open-air art environment in the heart of Detroit's East Side. After suffering from 9 fires in 11 months, Executive Director Janine Whitfield sat down with ONTV's Miranda DeVozo to discuss how they are planning to move forward in rebuilding the Street of Hope.
If you look on Heidelberg Street, you will notice that there's shoes hanging from the trees. That particular piece is reminiscent of Tyree's grandfather, who we called lynchings in the South. And Tyree asked his grandfather if he could see the people, and he said he could see the souls. So the bottom of our shoes are called souls. Now that's the history, but today what it really means for us is that we're lifting up the soul of the community. In 1993, I turned down Heidelberg Street by accident. It changed my life. I think that Tyree is a very unusual man, and I think that he was born for this. He recalls a story of his great-grandmother, Katie, who the whole community knew as a seer. She wore all white, and at 5 years old, she told him that he was going to be a great and famous man, and he couldn't fathom that. One particular philosopher said that time is the moving image of reality. And so the question that he asks when you come to Heidelberg Street is, what time is it? You know, and our position is that now is our time, Heidelberg. And when I talk about our time in Heidelberg, I'm talking about the spirit of creativity is having a new life. You know, we have been industrialized. We have forgotten. We have forgotten the power of what we can do as an individual. So it's our time. What time is it for you? And what are you going to do with your time? 9 fires in a period of 11 months. It was dark.
I built a home there in the trees with splintered hands and bruised and bloodied knees. One day her voice came riding on the breeze. Ooh.
What's important for you to know is that in life, you have negative and positive. That is what gets lights. So then you have to learn how to look at your experiences that are challenging and see how you grow from them as opposed to living in them. And that's what a lot of people do. They live in the doom and the despair, and that's reflected in a lot of people in the city of Detroit. One thing that you will notice when you look at any of Tyree Guyton's work, the faces. They are always smiling, no matter what. It's a reflection of the circumstances that people face. Why are they always smiling when many people deal with horrific situations or people are dealing with poverty or unemployment? Because he's talking about the possibilities of the inner man. The inner man, the skeleton, is always smiling.
I had to be alone. I thought I had to be alone.
It's how you look at what's happening to you and how you rebound from it that gives you the greatest story to tell.
That's it for this edition of ONTV News. On behalf of the entire crew, I'm Kayla Brandon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.